Things that stood out about Helen's piece. Anything, first thought. Kitchen? Ears? Food? Memory palace. Allergies. Okay. And then Brittany, raise your hand. Brittany. Wow, sorry. I've been corrected. Ratty St. John, raise your hand. You know, we got names and artist names. I messed up. Things that stood out to you about Ratty St. John's piece. Foreboding. Nostalgic, Michael Jackson. Searchlights. Intense. AIDS. Bad breath. Okay. Emily? Painting? Awesome. Process. Dimensional. Identity. Okay. Anthony.
Cambodian.
Got those Cambodians in the house. They're in the house. Okay. They just figured that out, actually, right now. Other things that stood out to you. Maddox Jolie. Picked.
He hasn't fell off the chair yet.
He hasn't fallen off the chair yet. This is your cue. That was actually the cue. Okay, well, we didn't understand. Other things? Funny. Awkwardly funny.
Like you guys all awkward.
All right, so that's good. It's helpful as artists to hear what people got, like the first reaction, because then they can like go back and know what stood out and what were the big things that came across. So now, briefly, talk about your piece and what you're exploring, what you're doing. I will stop you, but briefly.
Okay, there's a lot going on. Super briefly, I guess it's about the way I felt when I came here to New York. Tina's nodding. It's about how I've really wanted to connect with people, but how I felt it's been difficult here, because there's a ghost of like, oh, we're never going to see each other again because there's so many people in this place, and about how difficult that is, and about how that's similar to the way that my relationship with Danielle Stevenson kind of is, because there's like a distance that we can never cross, so it's about that.
Tell them who Daniel is.
Oh, Daniel Stevenson is a friend of mine. He is a poet in Australia whom I've never met in person, but whom I care about very much. It's ironically correct. And yeah, so this piece is about him. He wrote me a letter that you saw at the beginning of this in the gallery, and that's kind of what this is about and where it came from. I want to reply to it.
Pass the mic down to Helen.
Okay. So I am in the process of writing a novel. It's a novel for young adults. And what you heard was part of the first chapter. And something I'm exploring is this idea that when we go to college, it's often the first time that we're leaving home and trying to create a new home in our new space, and that often changes our relationship with our old home and how we see that other place.
Ready.
So the project that I worked on in New York for this program is actually a short screenplay that, for somewhat obvious reasons, didn't really translate to like a theatrical production. So that screenplay is roughly like about the idea of it was the visualization of a death of innocence, and for this piece, it began as a project that I started at Stanford, trying to pinpoint my generation's artistic ethos, which I call the aesthetics of AIDS and the apocalyptic ethos. Yeah.
Emily?
So obviously my piece was about my twin brother, but I guess recently I've been more interested in doing portraiture, and so because growing up as a twin, it's made me more interested in exploring like self-expression and the idea of identity, and so I really just wanted to show a more like humorous view of portraiture and explore something different to promote this idea of self-expression and the multi-dimensionality of people.
So mine is actually based on that is actually a stand-up joke that I do perform. Like if I wasn't showing an animation and I was just performing stand-up, I would probably do that joke. But I got kind of frustrated with kind of how I wasn't able to verbally communicate the actual darkness of what's happening in the situation. Everyone's just oh, Angelina Jolie, but so I wanted to make an animation so I can visually more accurately tell both sides of that joke.
So this mic is for you in the audience. We're just gonna ask questions, comments, thoughts.
I feel bad now, I forgot your name. Michelle. Who or how did you come to stage your, the choice to stand in front of the screen as it was playing, and then your movement between the chairs and all, and the box and everything?
Okay, so the projector idea. So the projector idea came to me sometime in the middle of this program. I don't know why. This whole process was a huge mess for me. I actually rewrote this piece top to bottom 5 times. It was not even about this at the beginning. So I was very desperate for ideas this entire month. And so there'd be things like coming in, coming out. One of them was the idea of standing in front of a projector, and that one just happened to stick. The way that I moved around the space actually didn't even happen until maybe a couple of days ago. Most of the piece was just standing and delivering, and Nay, who is a dancer, was very aware of the way I was in the space and suggested I try to find a way to, actually move and use the things. So I was trying to bring out the idea of distance between the 2 chairs. So I thought, one way I can do that is, sit in one and look across the other and actually physically mark out that distance. And then I just used the box because I wanted more of my body to be in the projection, so yeah.
Not to steal all the time, but I was just wondering, because the screen, it kind of detracted from me. I really enjoyed the screen aspect of it, but you standing right in front of it was a little weird for me. I would have, maybe something to think about is you beginning speaking sitting in the chair in silhouette in darkness, and then just having the screen go on. And then when the light came on, have it come on the empty chair, so you're speaking to that empty one, but we still don't know where it's coming from. I overanalyze this a lot. I don't know why.
No, that's a great idea. Thank you. Yeah. I can see that.
And then just to look at the ending, I just was questioning why you chose certain movements, but just if it came in the last minute or whatever, just to think it out.
Yeah, no, for sure. To be honest, the ending was kind of improvised. The way I was moving at the end, I was just I've never done this before. This is just how it feels like right now. But I will definitely look at that. Thank you.
And this is also coming from a professional dancer. So movement is a big thing. Any other questions or comments? All right.
This question's for Emily. Your painting is very striking to me. It's very beautiful. And one of the things that strikes me most is the neon colored lines around it. It reminds me of Fresh Prince era. And I just wondered what, I guess, your choice about the color and the use of the lines and things like that, if that was something you wanted to evoke, or I don't know.
Yeah.